First of all, Mr. Koberidze, it's a big pleasure having you here. To begin with, I feel like Dry Leaf is a movie about the passing of time, and I have this impression of the image you use, this very pixel image you use. It gives me the impression of that time passes so fast that it doesn't let the image to actually charge, to actually be of very high quality. Is that kind of what you were looking for, or is more of a challenge to the spectator?
So thank you for the question. And I don't know, I discovered this camera and the quality it works a long time ago, and since then it's somehow hunted me. It's not the first film I'm doing with it, and um, I have a feeling it has to do also, of course, with time, but first of all with light and darkness. And maybe it's the same. I'm not so good in physics, but as we know, like the matter and time are somehow connected. What is very interesting for me that I think that's what your question is about, that this camera always needs a bit more time to capture the image as the cameras with high resolution, so you can really see how it tries to catch the light. And it happens in front of you, this kind of, and it tries also, because it's automatic, you can't fix it, the how bright or dark the image is. So it always tries to adjust. So it tries to show you things, but sometimes it has not enough power. So you will experience in time this kind of trying to see something or make something visible, which it's not always possible with this camera, but it always tries to open some hidden pixels. And that's an for me that's an interesting experience, definitely.
I have to ask you again about that passing of time, because the way you film spaces are you show that space for a long time. We can see people, animals passing through, and you still record that you keep the image there, and we still see people passing, and then people disappear. It's like a an idea of that that place will always be there, and people with and time will pass, and it's very interesting. I think that is very interesting.
Yeah, that was like, for me it was interesting to go to places which are interesting and beautiful, of course, but not to look for something I don't know, super special, or some highly spectacular views or occurrences even, but somehow to go to take what you get, to travel and to come to places and to stop and then to observe it. Because if you stay somewhere long enough, you start to find any place interesting. And somehow that's what I also tried to capture through these images. And of course, you have to see something which interests you. You can't stop in every place, but it was not a usual hunt for something super special, you know.
In all these places that we can see in your movie, you use a lot of symbolisms, and not only in Dry Leaf, also in, for example, what do we see when we look at the sky. You use rivers, you use dry leaves actually, and all these ideas of things that correlate to the passing of time. And but there is one thing that really got my attention, and was this shots of the of of the goalies that are like something steady. And my question here was, is that kind of an idea of visualizing what death is? It's like the only steady thing in life is actually death, while the other things go passing around, that always stays. Or is it other thing maybe?
No, I wouldn't say that that was something I was thinking directly about. But it sounds for me interesting. It's if we speak about symbols and reasons and meanings of things, I really try to let it be open to for thinking and for different ways of understanding it. That's why I think I try. It's clear for me when I use some images or some spaces or some even some symbols that it will lead to different understandings of because everything has different meanings, but of course there are some meanings we share. But I try to leave it to the spectator. And what I hear from you now, that's for me, that's very interesting. And I'm happy that it can go in a direction I didn't think. That's for me, this is maybe the method I try to follow to lift the spaces which can be then filled by people who watch it.
I've never seen a filmmaker actually surround a lot of its stories with football. It's very interesting to see football in cinema. It's a very rare thing. And in both, what do we see when we look at the sky and in Dry Leaf, I see this connection of football like it is connected to childhood and to kind of that idea of the only thing that keeps us like innocent and back to our childhood and to our memories. Is it something like that?
Yeah, I think it has many layers, but definitely for me, it's the sweetest memory. And not only memory, I try to play football also now. It's less than when I was a kid, but still, these are for me like the happiest moments even now. And it's I try to connect things I make with the passions I have because I think if you are working with something which awakes your passions, you can then transport your emotions into what you do. And football is for me something like this. I think I really love it, and I'm not a football player, but then I try to somehow compensate and bring, even though my life is not connected with football, I tried still to connect it in different ways. And as filmmaking is part of my life, it's logical that I try to put these two together um, to not go far away from football because I know I can be emotional when I'm on a football field or even when I see just football a ball, I'm more awake than before. So if there is this connection, I think I can work better.
In Dry Leaf, I just feel like the movie is like a this path of Irakli to understand how Lisa just grows up and becomes an independent woman and leaves her parents behind. Is that the idea kind of surrounding not only Dry Leaf but your cinema? This idea of growing up, of not being the one you were in the past, and always kind of advancing in life and all these things.
I don't know. For me, it was more like, how to say, I think it's very actively discussed now in Georgia in throughout our generation that people want to leave because of different reasons. But mainly the reasons are political. And you hear a lot that people are very upset and about how the life is lived. So I imagine I already know many people who left, and I can imagine that someone can get so disappointed from what's going on that the only way to handle it maybe can be to leave.
There's one thing I find very interesting also in dry leaf is this constant showing of animals. I mean, Dovchenko, for example, in Earth shows a lot of cows, but in order to kind of situate you in the rural environment, but you're constantly showing dogs, showing cows, showing uh, pigs, that the donkey of the church. Do you do it in kind of a like showing some fascination for animals?
I think so. Yeah, it's I always loved and admired animals, and but I think after this film, this admiration has grown. And it's like self-learning and trying to be more connected um, with them, because these creatures are really amazing. Like cow, it's it. I don't know. It's every time I see them, it's kind of a miracle. I have a feeling it's because it's also we have such a little contact with cows, for example. No, with dogs I have a lot of contact, but a cow is it's hard to go even near because they are scared or you don't have also any skills how to interact with them. But I clearly see the goodness which comes from them. It's these are such wonderful creatures, and I find it interesting to look at them. And for me, the best way to look is through the camera. So I think I try to get near to them.
In dry leaf, do you go to the places and film a lot, and then in editing you try to give everything the form, or do you go already with a plan, with knowing what you have to shoot, what type of shot you have to make?
This time it was very different than in the films I've made before. I really tried not to plan where to go, and not to make a storyboard. Discover the places on a day of shooting, and then also to kind of improvise how we shoot. No, it was for me, it's a new way of working because normally before I always knew when I go somewhere, I go many times and I learn the place and I decide which would be the best angle maybe for a few days, and then I go there already knowing what to do. So it was a challenge to not do it as I'm used to it, but to work in a bit more new way.
So the spectator kind of discovers all these fields as both characters, and you discover it. You film that you knew those fields, or you were discovering while shooting.
Yeah, most of them, I would say all of them, we were discovering while there are um, there is maybe one or two places where we went back because I thought that when I saw the material, I thought, okay, this is very interesting place, and I want to go there again. But most places we just went and made the images, and yeah.
Here in Dry Leaf, I feel like you have a smaller team than what you had in What Do We See When We Look at the Sky. How is it to work with a smaller team and with a large team? Do you have like a bigger freedom creatively with a smaller team than a large team, or in both films you were really free in terms of creativity?
That's very interesting. It's when I started to film or even prepare what do we see when we look at the sky, which was made with a um, more or less a usual team consisting of 30 to 35 people, depending. Mm, and the film before, which was Let the Summer Never Come Again, was made. I made it almost alone. Sometimes there were two people, but sometimes I was alone or like this. And it's very different way from what do we see. And when I started to work with many people, I had this mixed feeling. On one hand, it was really interesting and enjoyable to be together with others, sharing ideas and finding new things because other people are there and so on. But I also had this feeling that I was missing this being for yourself and not having to explain anything, but making things really intuitionally, because when you're alone, you don't talk about ideas, you just do it, no? So I understood that I like both ways of working. And I thought maybe I should change every time, like make one with a bigger team and then one with smaller and then big and small, and to have this kind of pattern. And Trilift, it's made again with, it was three of us. It was me and my brother who made sound and later music, and the actor who is our father, and that's it. So it was three of us, and it's a pleasure because you are super free. You don't have to make big decisions about tomorrow. You can say about tomorrow, we think tomorrow, and we'll see. And it allows a lot of freedom, of course. Or you shoot, or you don't shoot, or you say we shoot in a week, or we come back, or it's everything up to you. Of course, it's a big responsibility because then you really have to. It has to be smart what you think, but even if it's not, it's still okay because there are not 40 people disappointed, but it's only you. So, and you have, of course, possibility to repeat it or try to repeat or do something else.
Godard said that creativity, the creative part of a movie should go 50% shooting and 50% editing. You share something like this, or how do you view this?
Oh, it's really hard, I think, to divide it because we also have writing. I think many things happen before you even start to shoot because you have to your brain is already making some decisions unconsciously. You are growing, you are becoming older. I don't know, some things change with your heart, things happen. So all these things, of course, later become visible in a film. Um, uh, you because a human being is changing every day, no, and you never know what will change your way of seeing the world. You may experience something very unplanned. You can go to buy bread, but see something, and it can change everything, no? And it can happen, of course, before you even start to shoot. It's hard to divide in like first. For me, it's equally interesting all the time before the shoot. The shooting, of course, it's very important because that's what you get, but not less, I think, is editing. I think in editing, there is not less magic happening than while filming or writing.
Drali reminds me a lot of Kiarostami's cinema, but it also reminds me a lot of Dovzhenko, of Tarkovsky. How these filmmakers of the past influence you?
Yeah, I think a lot. And the directors you mentioned mean a lot to me. And I think that's how in any field, but if we talk about filmmaking, that's how at least me, but I think many other filmmakers start to make films because you love something, no? Because you love films. That's how you start filmmaking. I don't believe in making art uh, because you hate what happened before you and you want to destroy it and change and make something new. I I rather believe in making art because you love what happened before you and not by fighting with it, but to in a connection. to make something which is different, but of course interacts with the past. And in this sense, so of course Kiarostami or Dovzhenko too, and Tarkovsky, or all these people who you watch and who through them you start to love. No, I remember how I first saw Tarkovsky, or how I first saw Dovzhenko or Kiarostami, and what kind of step it was in my life, not only as a filmmaker but also as a human being, because it changes you, know. And of course, it makes you also careful, because when you see this kind of filmmaking, you think it's impossible for it could be impossible for you to work in the same field, because there are this such wonderful works done already. But also it is kind of encouraging, because especially if we talk about Kiarostami, it's if you when you watch it, you immediately you want to make something as well, because it seems sometimes also so simply made, which it's not, of course. But it gives you a lot of energy. With Tarkovsky, it's different. When you watch Tarkovsky, you think, God, this is so beautiful, but maybe I should never work in cinema, because it's so complicated, and it needs so much. So also every director gives you different energy. I don't say that Tarkovsky gives you bad energy. It's just uh, it's so complex in its making, that it kind of scares you. At least for I had this feeling when I was younger. Um, but also Dozhenko, when you watch his films, you want to make films. That's for me. These are the great directors, and the same is of course with the silent cinema, which gives you not only wish to make something, but also energy for it, and a lot of ideas, because it's so rich. It's these old films are full with ideas which no one used later. No, in this early silent films, there are like treasure boxes which are like full with small ideas you can try now. So it is a big inspiration also.
You're a very risky filmmaker. I feel like you always you do things that right now are not seen. What actually makes you want to be that different? That what makes you want to be risky?
I think this is for me. This is a very natural way of working. I never risk intentionally, but of course you know what the maybe recipe for a more successful work could be. But I don't know. I never had a moment in my life when I thought maybe I should do something this and this way to um, be more suitable for industry or something. Filmmaking is for me like the only thing, like I feel secure more or less, in a way that I have a feeling um, secure. I mean that I feel more or less confident when I work there. And there is no other field around where I feel the same. So in this only thing which I kind of have, it would be, I think, not clever to destroy it in a way that to try to sneak around and make something what others want. I think if you have a feeling that you hold something, you have to give yourself to it. I maybe if I do something parallel to it, I don't know, some other work, which is not such an essential part of my life, I can be there more flexible because that's not my life. But cinema has become a way for me to live, and of course, it's a kind of responsibility to live this life in a sincere way.
Do you do you plan on kind of keeping this way of doing your cinema? Of do you plan on keep being the author that you are?
I think so. I of course I already think about next films or next or after that, and you never know what what life has prepared for you. Um, but as long as I'm conscious and I can think and do things as I wish, I think that's the way um, to work. But it needs a lot of circumstances around you to play along. But I think I'd rather do something else if I have to work for just for money. I would do something else and not cinema because I think, as I said, this is the only thing I have in my life, and I want to be fair somehow with this medium, which gives me everything I have.
Well, Mr. Koberidze, it was an amazing pleasure having you here. It's almost time, so just wanted to wish you luck for Locarno. Um, I wish people see actually how good Dry Leaf is, because I really believe it's a great movie. And thank you very much for this. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. It was very interesting. It's not this usual questions. It was very pleasant to talk with you. It's so all the best for you.